for quite a while. And over 30 years, really it started longer than that ago with my mom being terminal cancer holistically. So as a family, what happened is we were like, okay, there's options outside the standard routes. If people tell you that it can't be fixed, it doesn't mean it can't be fixed. It just means that they can't fix it, because my mom's doctor told her that she would be dead at 6 months, and she's 90 years old now. so, so what happened is I began that journey. I began the journey of cool products sold through network marketing, right? Had fun, grew as a person, grew as a business person, enjoyed the way. One thing to understand is if you really have an extraordinary product, it's very easy to feel successful because if you help one person with their health, bam, you made the world a better place. Mark, it's a good thing to do. So in 2020, instead of participating in the worldwide freakout, I decided to make something beautiful, and I ended up being the number one enroller internationally with a German network marketing company. That was fun. It was good money. We helped a lot of people, and in December they told me, "Oh, you won the Porsche lease." I'm like, "Okay, cool." But there were a good product doesn't always make a great business long term. Right? There were some management issues, and here's the interesting thing, I want as well as I did with that company, I never presented it as a business opportunity to other people. Isn't that interesting? I was like, okay, there's some definite holes here in terms of simplicity, systems, in terms of management, leadership, all that. I'm like, I don't care what it's going well now. I'm like, oh, how about 10 years from now? Right? That's what I was looking for. And some things did happen. July 2021, my income dropped by 90% in 1 month. It's a bit of a shocker. You have nice full-time income to poof, right? July was down, August was down, September. I'm like, okay, step number one, forgive some people in Germany for screwing up my nice life. And you have to forgive them again and again, right? And when I'd really done that, I'm like, okay, well, I know I do like the right product and the right company together. Network marketing is amazing. So fun, right? It's exciting, it's profitable, it's like, it's cool. But I decided to be extremely deliberate in what the next thing I was going to do would be. Right. So I took out my journal and my pen, and I decided that the right word was the word extraordinary, which to me meant something that made a really significant impact on people's health, that grew, that was profitable, honestly, because that's an important thing these days, and that would lasted long enough not just to impact my life, but more of a generational. Like my grandkids would say, "Oh, thank God, Grandpa Steve, got involved with Vitify. We have a good life." Right? Does that make sense? And so I wrote that in my journal. I wrote out, I want to build something extraordinary. I can build something extraordinary. I will build something. I am now, present tense, building something extraordinary. And I did that for 3 days. And on the third day, someone messaged me about Vitify. Someone I respected who knew the industry well. Okay. He was like, "Hey, buddy, this is a friend of mine who makes $50,000 a month from a network marketing company that he hasn't worked on in years." Right? That makes a difference in your family's life. You know what I mean? I mean, he lives in Nicaragua, goes surfing every day, has fun, right? He goes, "Hey, man, I think I found something you might be interested in." I'm like, I knew it was what I've been looking for. You have a gut feeling, but intellectually, I also like to evaluate things as well. That makes sense. Like the two should come together. They should confirm each other, really. And because I have 30 years of business experience and network marketing experience and a degree in economics, I have some things I like to check off. You know what I mean? Like, Iwan, having done businesses like this before, you now know some things that you didn't know when you first started, right? You're like,
Absolutely.
and you learn it the hard way, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is, right? So I had some things to check off, and so I thought I always like to share. Hey, Here's how I evaluated it. Maybe it'll help you evaluate that way too. Maybe some things you hadn't thought about before, whether you end up being a customer or partnering with them as a business. Now, I would like to be very clear. I always say this, like I don't build my business by doing presentations, right? I'm a little lazier than that. I don't like I always say my skill set is saying very little to a whole bunch of people and using tools, right? So as we do this, I want to not just share how I evaluated it, but I want to share kind of what it might look like if you also decided to do it as a business. Like, can you conceive it fitting into your busy life, right? Um, do you have the skills, all that sort of stuff, right? So the first thing to understand is their businesses do a lot of different things, and you can make money a lot of different ways. For me personally, if you approach me with a business, you're like, "Oh, look how much money everyone's making." I'm like, that sounds like I like making money. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't excite me enough to do the business. Just that, right? I'm like, I like something cool that's helping people. That's fun, right? So the type of businesses I like to get involved with solve problems because I think that's the most ethical way to move forward in business. Like, hey, you're a billionaire because you solved some huge problem. Good for you, right? If you're a billionaire because you like shorted some stock on some company, like I don't know, I don't think you're making the world a better place. Does that make sense? Right. So I want to go over some of the problems we solve. Number one problem is we're in the nutritional supplement industry. We actually solve the number one problem. Number one, everyone say number one problem in the supplement industry, and that's a lack of absorption of fat, or we call it lipid, another word for fat, lipid nutritional ingredients. Now, your body's mostly water. There's some really important stuff that's kind of acts like fat, but if you try and stuff that in your body, they don't mix that well, right? That's why you cleaning greasy dishes. You got to use some extra stuff to deal with that. And so we have a very unique technology called BioMS. BioMS is an amazing German technology that radically increases the absorption of fat or lipid molecules, right? And we combine that with curcumin. It's the extract of turmeric, right? Everyone knows about turmeric. Well, this curcumin extract acts like a fat in your body. Tons of research. All the research says it has some potential. Too bad it's not absorbed. We combine those two, boom, 18,000% on average better absorption,
Yeah.
right? It's stunning in minutes, okay? So keep in mind, we're going to talk a lot about the impact of biomass and curcumin together, right? But be very clear that biomass is our main technology, and we can combine that with an additional thing in the future, right? So we're not limited to just the golden drops, right? There's a lot of other things we can do in the future as well. So number one problem we solve is absorption, right? When you solve that problem, then you actually also solve the number one problem. Everybody say number one, number one problem in people's health, which is inflammation. And inflammation is the number one cause or contributor to every disease associated with aging. Okay, it's like I kind of joke, I go, hey, the things that didn't bother you when you're 19 that kind of bother you now? Yeah, that's all inflammation, right? Business wise, guess what? 19-year-olds don't have any money and they don't have any inflammation. People in their 50s have inflammation. Guess what? They also have money. Guess what they're happy to do? Trade some of their money to feel like they're 19 again, right? It's a very good business. You make a lot of people very happy. So I want to pause here and talk about like when we say, hey, it helps people with inflammation. What are we really talking about? Because you can kind of go, okay, that's nice and cool. But when you really look at the results, it's like, holy crap, that's insane. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to screen share, and we're going to just go to a very simple site. And the simple site is a very simple training tool I give to the people in my business, but it also has some resources, right? So we're going to show you both actually how you do the business in a very simple way. And hey, let's show you some super cool stuff. So if we go 30 Days to Pro. This is kind of a very basic training site on, hey, here's the very simple things to do to build your business. But on it, it has a couple great links. Okay. The first one we're going to talk about is vidifyresults.com. So Vidify Results is a YouTube playlist. Okay. So you don't have to be on Facebook or any other thing. Everyone has access to YouTube, right? And this playlist has a couple of videos I want to highlight, okay, very quickly. And you can come back and watch them later. Also, keep in mind, this is the tool you would share with other people. Instead of having to explain everything, instead of having to talk a lot, just send them a link, vidifyresults.com. So the first one is BioMS technology, a great short 3-minute video on what this technology is and what it actually does. It's animation. I don't try and explain the technology. You see, why would I do that? The video does a better job. Like I don't need to be an expert, right? Um, in this playlist, what you'll see is both cool results, and you'll also see that the questions people ask as they're evaluating Vidify are typically the same, right? And everyone knows, you know, I'm a little lazy, so if someone asks me a question a couple times, I just make a video. Then I don't have to talk anymore, right? So one of the most common questions is, "Hey, um, for my condition, how much do I need to take?" Well, I'm not a medical expert, so I interview a naturopathic doctor, and we talk about that, and also we talk about some crazy results. Her boyfriend had, we'll just say, the doctor said, sent him home and told him to call his lawyer and call his priest because they weren't helping him anymore. You understand what I'm saying? And she goes, well, he's fine now. He goes, he's back to work, scans, regular scans, clean, perfectly clean. The other story she told me is she goes, a friend of mine called me, her 17-year-old son had been in an accident, traumatic brain injury, in a coma. She goes, the doctors are telling me I have to unplug my son from life support and let him go. She goes, "Could we do something?" She goes, "Yeah, put it down his feeding tube." 6 days later, he woke up. Okay. She goes, "Steve," she goes, "if you met that kid today, you would never know he ever had any issues." I'm like, it's crazy, right? So if someone can't join this short Zoom, I do have a replay of a 15-minute version of this. Um, Great. This one is very interesting because we talk about like absorption, like how fast can you see absorption? I was recently in Phoenix, and this health clinic had signed up, right? And one of the really interesting things was this guy named George Moore. Um, the clinic director called me. She goes, "George is on board." I'm like, "Okay," and she goes, "You don't understand. If George says it's okay, everyone else will just join without questioning it." And in fact, that was the case when I went down there. One of the doctors in the clinic was like, "Well, I don't really have to do any research because George says it's okay. Therefore, yes. How much money do you need?" And George shared this picture with me. In fact, he shared two different pictures. This picture right here is of a gentleman. He goes, I had a client call me. George does live blood analysis, right? Where they take, you come in, they take a pinprick, they put the blood under a microscope, and they see what's happening in the blood, and they can tell a lot of stuff about your health just from that. He goes, I had a client get a hold of me and says, hey, guys, honestly, because I'm very concerned I jacked up my liver because I'd been binge drinking, but I've been clean for 6 days and I've been juicing every single day. Can we take a look at my blood? Well, they took a look at his blood and he's like, your blood still does not look good. But understand that you're juicing for 6 days. How much time and effort is that? An expense, right? So they did the initial thing. He goes, oh, yeah, you can see issues with your liver, all sorts of stuff. He goes, do you mind if I give you 10 drops of this product and we do it again? He's like, yeah, sure. The next picture, 30 minutes later, boom, dramatic results. He also sent me a picture later of a gentleman who had had a heart attack. You could see all sorts of issues with his blood. Again, he redid the blood work after 10 drops in 30 minutes, dramatically different. Okay. And here's the interesting thing I'll tell you about the guy with the heart attack. My friend, for weeks, had been thinking about him. Oh, I should tell this guy. I should tell this guy. I should tell this guy. but she didn't. And then he had a heart attack. And she's like, I was supposed to tell him sooner. Good news is he feels better already, and his blood work is looking better too. So, but the point is like, l- let go of your ego and how concerned you are about what other people think, and tell people. Right? Who cares if they say yes or no, right? So, another question we often get is, well, is your product organic? We're not certified organic. We're very, very, very picky about the source. But I interviewed an organic turmeric farmer who'd been taking organic turmeric for like 12 years, thought she was dying. Okay. And now says, hey, this product saved my life, really. Um, Great interview with my business partner and Dr. Roy Martinez. Because sometimes you're like, okay, these testimonials are cool, but what do the real experts say? Like, well, Dr. Martina is very famous, having educated over 200,000 medical doctors on nutrition. He's like, look, he goes, based on the research, based on the results, and the fact that I've formulated 800 products myself. He goes, the most important thing I've ever seen in my life. So, but results with brain fog, results with heart health, my friend who was a motocross racer feeling so much better, crazy results with feeling better from long haul COVID and sleeping and um, story after story after story after story after story. I mean, people whose moms were in hospice talking to the doctor about ending her life. Okay. It's like crazy, In fact, there was another story because her mom had Parkinson's. Just, I recently heard another person say, "Oh yeah, my doctor says he doesn't see any more evidence of Parkinson's in my parent." Just crazy. So, story after story after story. By the way, another question I answer is on the very bottom. If people go, okay, I don't just want to be a customer, I want to join the business. Great, there's some options. On the very bottom, we discuss your different options in a general way, kind of give you an idea of what you might need to spend if it was a good fit for you, right? So that's one resource. If we go to another resource and we go to vidifystories.com, this brings you to a testimonial group on Facebook where we have, goodness, like 36,000 people in there, right? Story after story after story after story. It's like, hey, go check out, feel the authenticity of people's how they're sharing their stories there, right? One thing you can do is, people often ask me, Steve, will it work for XYZ condition? My first answer is this. It would be like, Ivan, I have no idea if it'll help you with that. Here's what I'm confident of. If you take this product consistently and enough for 90 days, you'll be super happy you did. You'll be super happy you did. I mean, that's what you want. You're like, you want to know, okay, I didn't waste my time, I didn't waste my money. Yeah, I'm confident of that, right? But one thing you can do is you can type in on this whole search icon, right? Type in there, like, oh, does it help pets? Oh, type in dog, right? It's like story after story after story after story after story. It's like amazing, right? And so just spend some time poking around in there, right? For me, um, this is one of the best tools to build a business. Why? Because if I can get people involved in the testimonial page, right? Get them interacting with it, then Facebook does a lot of my work for me because it requires consistent follow-up. That makes sense? Um, it's like, hey, Facebook will keep going, check it out, check it out, check it out. Maybe one story you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Two story you're like, oh, that's a pretty good product. Six stories later, you're like, holy crap, I have to tell everyone I know about this. Right? But I didn't do that work. It's like the testimonial group did that work for me. That's why it's so important. So, um, since we solved the inflammation issue, right? Then we can also solve the inflation issue. Okay, I don't know if you know, but stuff is costing more than it used to. You guys have that issue over in Europe? Like to cool your house, to heat your house, to put food on the table, put gas in your car. It's like, what is going on here? Right. And one of the things, since World War II, I'll give you an economics lesson. Since World War II, if you want to know what business is going to go like this, you look at this group of population called the baby boomers. Okay, it was a kind of a bubble in the population. So there are a lot of people moving through life, right? And this first part of those people, whatever they become interested, it will blow up. Does that make sense? It's like, oh, how about diapers and baby formula, and then bicycles, and oh, now they want to buy their first car, and they're going to buy houses, right? Guess what? Now they are retiring. They have money, but they have some health issues, aches and pains and inflammation,
Yeah.
right? Often, what people often don't have though is they often don't have time. They don't have time. So if you give these people something that's takes a lot of time or is inconvenient, good luck. If you give them something that's not expensive, easy to do, doesn't take any of their time, they're like, okay, that I'm interested in. Does that make sense? It's like, how many people go, hey, change your entire diet and start exercising. I'm like, okay, it's not gonna happen, right? So I want to go over a couple interesting things about this product. Number one, first of all, from a marketing perspective, is this. What we're talking about is we're actually marketing what I would call commodity. A commodity is a term given to things in the marketplace that everyone understands and knows and everyone wants. Gasoline, commodity; housing, commodity; like, flour, commodity; bacon, whatever, stuff like that, you know. And so it's something people recognize very instantly and know they should be doing something with. Okay, so I really kind of enjoy um, marketing new technology, stuff no one's ever heard about before. I think it's cool. Most people don't or can't, right? So if I before you had ever heard about Vidify, Evan, if I had said, you asked me, Steve, what do you do? And I go, Ivan, do you know what turmeric is? You say, of
Yep, of course.
course. Do you know you should be taking it?
I should.
You should be. Okay, well, what I sell is a turmeric product, but it's 18,000% more bioavailable and it's a great price. You're like, okay, sold.
Yeah,
Many people, you don't need to put them in the test. They're like instantly. Why? Because so what we talk about is a very short sales cycle. That makes sense.
yeah.
There's not a, oh, I should go. I've never heard about your thing before from anybody, and I should go research it and talk to my doctor about it. It's like, no. It's like, how much stuff do you have to see? Like turmeric, 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 turmeric. It's like everywhere. You're like, okay, oh, maybe I should finally do this after hearing about it for like 5 years. So it makes it very easy for the average person to share and sell it. Okay. Then this little bottle of drops sits next to my coffee station and next to this sweetener I put in my coffee. And I never, and that's not an understatement, I never forget to take it. Right? Evan, you're a health professional. You have clients for years.
Mhm.
How often do you tell them what they need to be doing outside of seeing you in the clinic versus how often they actually do it?
Well, maybe 10%. That's a lot. Maybe 5%.
Every 5%,
Yeah,
right? It's like, are you finding that people have an easier time implementing this suggestion? It's like,
easy. Like that.
easy,
Yeah,
easy, inexpensive, works. People are like, yeah, done, right? So that's very important is the consistency of use of the product,
yeah.
right? Here's another very important thing, and we got to experience this past year. You know, every good business solves problems,
Mhm.
and every business goes through problems, right? And this past year, we had an issue with a label, which caused goofy issues with regulatory bodies and some import issues, and we had major supply chain issues, right?
So,
Our business grew during the time when people had a very hard time getting product. That's
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Tell you 30 years experience, any other company that goes through that, they're screwed.
Yeah.
What did that say to me? Like, wow, this product is so extraordinary that people are willing to do whatever it takes to keep taking it, right? It's massively important. That makes sense? So we have the ability to solve inflation, very easy to market, great price, right? This is, when we live in a world right now where people having their budgets are getting tighter, okay? When you have a fairly low price product that delivers a very high value, there's a lot of other things you're going to cut out of your budget before this. That makes sense? It's very resistant to economic problems. Okay. So then if talk about money, okay, is it okay if we talk about that a bit? Guess what it takes these days to stay healthy? Money.
Yep.
Like, let's just be honest. If you're having financial issues, your health suffers too.
Yep.
Whether it's stress or we're like, oh, I can't afford to go see a practitioner. I can't afford healthy groceries. I'm stressed out. All these things. So talking to people about a business opportunity is an incredibly ethical thing, right? It's very important. So I want to talk a bit about this business and my experience. I recently had yet another person who I had introduced this to hit the level rank of diamond, right? I mean, it's like I'm like 5 people, and so not just in my group, the people I've personally told about it. You understand it's fun to make money, even more fun if on top of that your friends are making money too, right? It's a huge deal. So our, a couple things about our business is it's a very simple business. Okay. We have an extremely generous compensation plan. I'll tell you one thing people don't realize is that because the delivery system is so effective, the amount of raw material we need to deliver a dramatic result is actually fairly low. What does that mean? It means that we can be very generous to you as you share this with other people, even if the price is very reasonable. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of we can be very generous because it's built into the technology. That's very important. So we pay you very nicely as you build your business, as you hit certain ranks. We pay you very nicely through the depth of your organization as well. And the nature of the product is very residual in nature. Okay, what does that mean? You build a business, right? And you can start being like, oh, this is like I can maybe take a month off, right? Down the road. You're like, I still paid all my bills. That's amazing, right? The compensation plan is very simple in terms of your ranks. You don't have to do a lot of complicated things to hit ranks. You can organize your team also in a way that builds synergy inside your business, right? Which is wonderful. The next thing I would say, and maybe most important thing about evaluating business like this is ownership and leadership, right? If I look back on my 30-year career in network marketing, in retrospect, what is the thing that most often took businesses that had potential out? Leadership and ownership over and over and over and over and over, right? You have to look at what are the ethics and character of who's making all the decisions for your business. What are their goals, right? What do they want to do? Do they want to build a company up and just sell it to somebody else and walk away? Well, I tell you that will screw up the business every single time, right? And so one of my favorite things is Shane and Laura Brady, who are the owners. He has all of his experience in network marketing in terms of his career, so he really knows what this kind of unique industry takes, right? And some of this wonderful, kind, humble people, right, who really have our best interests in mind. I promise you that. Iwan, what when you actually met them for the first time, did anything shift for you in terms of your uh, attitude about the business?
Oh yeah, it's like I felt okay like that. You're at the right place at the right time.
You're like, oh, I can relax, trust
Yeah,
these people. Yeah,
absolutely.
massively, massively important. So, if we're like, okay, cool, everyone's like, I'm interested. Maybe you're interested in being a customer. Maybe you're interested in starting a business, right? One very important thing to say is this: any good business gets a lot of customers. Okay, if you're looking at a business opportunity, especially network marketing business, and they don't talk about, oh, look at all the customers we're getting. They just talk about the business and then making money. You do not have a long-term business opportunity if they talk more about the making money than they do about the actual product or getting customers. All right. And I'm constantly amazed about how many customers we get. Someone goes, exactly what is the percentage? I don't know the exact percentage. I know it's high for the network marketing industry. And especially here in the US, there are some regulatory requirements in terms of how many customers you get versus how many people are signing up at the business. And I will tell you, we pass that very nicely, right? So if you're thinking about being a customer, US prices, European prices are somewhat similar. We've got two basic kinds of drops. We have the curcumin plus, we have the nanofi. Curcumin plus has added ginger and vitamin C in it. I find that if there was a preference, sometimes people don't have a preference, but if there was a preference, often people have a little bit of preference for the plus, helps with gut health, right? Some people don't do well on ginger, and some people find that ginger is wonderful but slightly stimulating. So they like to take the Nanofi, the other product, in the evening. Okay. So the curcumin plus is $60 US retail in the US. The Nanofi is 50. Okay. If you want to be a customer, awesome. We'd love to have you a customer. We are not interested in talking you into doing a business. We're not actually interested in doing a business. That's just weird. We don't like, why would we do that? Okay. We're not pushy like that. If, however, you look at this and you're like, already know a lot of people who need this, and what you lined out in terms of how you actually do the business looks like something I could do. Okay, like what does it take then? Does that make sense? So, what you'll need to do is you'll need to open an account, and there are three different kits or types of accounts you can open. Okay, and I think when you have a infographic for the European ones in general, there is like a kit 250, kit 500, kit 1000 in the US, or kit 1250 in Europe. Okay, so there's three different options. You get an increasingly better value with each one of those kits. We do not kind of incentivize you or push you to spending more money than you're comfortable with. Okay, that's not our culture. It's not ethical. However, um, what you need to understand is this: is there are some advantages to doing at least the 500 or the 1250, okay, versus the 250. The first one is to understand this: the product goes quickly, okay, and this type of business loves speed. It really loves speed. So if I have 2 to 4 times the amount of product on hand, boom, I can get out to a lot more people very quickly, right? And so the likelihood of in a short period of time me getting a bunch of customers and some people want to join my team dramatically goes up, like 2 to 4 times higher, because we're talking to more people and getting more people on product. Okay. The other thing is that when people join, they tend to copy what you did, right? If I'm like, oh, this looks great, I go, of these three options, which one did you do? And you're like, I did the Kid 1250. I go, and I went through the product super fast and helped me build my business. I'm like, okay, I was kind of, but like, that makes sense. Let's do it, right? So I always joke, at the risk of doing math in public, if people are joining at the 500 or 1250 level versus the 250 level, and you're building an organization, your organization grows 2 to 4 times as fast, right?
Cool.
And if you notice this, if we go back to the 30 days to pro, the reason we call that is because we love for you to hit your first rank in the business in your first 30 days. Okay. And the reason for that is, again, this business loves speed. Okay. And if we can help you do that in your first 30 days, your chance of success grows, right? So to hit your first rank, you need $2,000 total in volume, right? You and three partners. So if you do kit 500 and they all do kit 500, you're there like that. And you get all these nice bonuses. And if you do this one in your first 30 days, you're going to make about 780 US dollars, right? If, by the way, if everyone comes in at the 1250 kit, okay, boom, 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 and you do that in your first 30 days, we have a special going on right now. You're like, you'll make a lot of money in your first 30 days. How much is it over there in Europe? It's like, it's a chunk of change. If you do 1250 and three other people do 1250, it's
It's
like
it's it's more than a 1250 pack you get back. So you get a return of investment right away.
yeah, absolutely. And by the way, if you take what's in your kit and you turn around and sell it, you're already profit in the profit, right? So it's really significant. So that's really the basics of our business. We we love to answer all your questions, right? Some people are like, okay, cool. I'm gonna spend about a month researching this. I want to look at the science. I want to see all this. I'm like, good, good for you, right? Other people are like, shut up and take my credit card. Like, awesome. We could do that as well. And some people are kind of in between, kind of just checking it out. So um, what would you like to add? I'll let you take it from here, Ivan.
Um, you all of a sudden had a feeling that you needed to go to a coffee shop on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
What happened? Can you
Yeah,
explain?
I'll give you everyone kind of an example of what it actually looks like for me to recruit. Okay. And I've done this a lot, this exact scenario. So I was like, I think I want to take my wife, go to this cool coffee shop down by the river. It's beautiful. I'm sitting there and this woman's
By the
sitting next.
way, it's not a Dutch coffee shop, a normal coffee shop where you drink
Yeah,
coffee.
not this kind of shop, coffee shop, this kind of coffee shop.
Yeah.
Although we have a lot of places like that in California as well. So we're just saying.
Yeah.
Um, so we're drinking coffee down by the river, and there's this people sitting next to me, and they're talking about all sorts of things. And then a friend of theirs comes, and the friend brings their dog. I love dogs. I start petting their dog, talking about their dog, and they were talking a lot about travel, and we start talking about Hawaii, and I start talking about Hawaii, and also a lot of the traveling we've been done through the year. And I mentioned, I go, for my business. That's not pushy. It's not pushy to say, "Oh, I have a business," right? She asked me, "Well, what do you do?" I go, "Let me show you." Who says that? What do you mean? So you have people's attention. Does that make sense? What do you mean? Let me show you. I go, yeah, let me show you. So I pull up my phone, right? And I pull up a photo album on my phone, right? And I start showing her pictures, right? And she's like, wow, wow, what is that? Wow, 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 wow. I go, do you know what turmeric is? Yes. Well, it's a turmeric product that has a technology in it that makes it 18,000% more bioavailable. He goes, awesome. How do I get information? Now, most of you would start talking. Blah, 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 blah. Go, give me your cell phone number. I will text you a couple links. He goes, great. Thank you. Right? She's comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with it. I text her vidifyresults.com. I text her vidifystories.com. I go, check it out. Now I've sent her information. I have her name, contact information. I know what she's interested in, right? I get a phone call the next morning, fairly early. She's like, I'm in for the Kit 1000. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I spent hours looking at this. Right. I'm like, okay. She goes, I worked at Costco. I don't know if you have Costco in Europe. Do you have Costco in Europe? It's a very large store where you get stuff cheap. Very,
No.
very, very popular. She goes, I've worked at Costco for 30 years. She goes, I know every single person in town by name. I'm really interested in this business. I'm like, bring it on. So by the way, guess where you would get pictures like that on the 30 days to pro site. We have some pictures. You just download them to your phone, right? I mean, really, the big challenge would be You have the technical know-how to show someone a picture on your phone and to text them something. If you're like, yes, I could definitely do that. Awesome. Like, you know, I'm not trusting that my 90-year-old mom, she's never sent a text in her entire life. She's not doing that. That makes sense. But if you can do that, you're good to go, right? So that's the simplicity of our business. Um, that we do it in a way, we model that it's fun, that it's easy, that it's simple, doesn't take your time. Hey, you ask me a question, if you're my prospect, I'm like, I don't know. Let me put my business partner on a text thread or on a Facebook Messenger thread or on the phone. They'll answer that for you. Why? Because we want to know, hey, it is your business,
Yep.
but you're not in business by yourself. We do it as a
Team.
team.
Yep.
That makes sense.
That's great. And if someone asks you, do you have information? Don't tell them, show them. I like that.
I
All right.
say very little, but I said to very many people. Very little to a whole bunch of people, like a lot. So,
Yeah. We have Fifi Gary that likes to say something. Let me help them. Oh, wait on. Give me a second, Vivi. So you can unmute yourself.
Yes, good day. I don't know what time it is there,
Mhm.
but I have a question.
Yeah.
I would like to know, maybe out of experience,
Mhm.
if um dementia, if this helps somebody with dementia already, the drops.
sure. There's a couple ways to answer that. First is like I said, every disease associated with aging is a disease of inflammation, right? So I don't I don't like to answer that question directly. I go to the testimony group, check it out. There's one additional thing you can do, which I'll share with you. You know, some people are like, I need a little more, I'm a little more nerdy, technical science based. I'm like, cool. Here's what you do. We would go to back on the internet and we go to this thing called PubMed. So PubMed.gov for government, PubMed.gov is the US government clearinghouse for clinical research. Okay. So we go, huh? I wonder if any nerdy people have actually done, where's your science? Where's your studies? Right? Someone's asking me this. So we go, okay, we go curcumin dementia. Let's see. Huh, interesting. We have how many? 639 different uh,
Studies.
references to that,
Yeah.
right? 639, right? Huge impact on brain health. You know, I have a woman in New Zealand who would have hundreds, hundreds seizures a day. And she had the mental capacity of a 3-year-old because of all the inflammation on her brain, right?
Hmm.
And as long as she takes the product, she has no seizures and is fine. You know, by the way, here's a very interesting thing. Alzheimer's, you know what they call it now? They call it type 3 diabetes.
True.
Type 3 diabetes. What do people with diabetes not do? They don't handle inflammation very well.
True.
Yeah. So the product's ability to impact inflammation and pass the blood-brain barrier, very, very important. So
True.
any type of thing you see with brain health, brain fog, brain health, brain damage, brain whatever, huge, huge thing.
So dementia is a form of brain inflammation, inflammation
Sure.
in the brain,
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
and then I can conclude that the drops help very great with inflammation. So the possibility to get that person healthy is 95%.
Here's what I'm very clear on. This person you care about who has dementia, I do not know if these drops will help their dementia. What I'm confident in is if they take this product for long enough. How long is that? Remember that second video, how do I get results? So it talks about how much you take for how long. If you do that, you will be very happy for one reason or another that you did it. Will it specifically help with dementia? It doesn't work like that. Never does, right?
We cannot say that. And the reason Steve is so conscious and so careful about answering it directly, we're not supposed to give medical advice. Even though I have a medical background, we are not so if we are giving the wrong how say it? We shouldn't do that.
Example.
Yeah, example. Yeah. So
So here's a very here's a very simple thing. We'll take a step back. Okay. Number one, Vitify does not pay me to be a medical professional. Therefore, I'm not going to act like a medical professional. Why? Because I want to help a lot of people. How do I do that? Keeping it simple, right? Here's the 4 things everyone is interested in. I don't care whatever disease, blah, blah, blah you have. Who cares about that? Here's what you want. You want to sleep better. You want to have more energy, less discomfort or pain in your body, and better mental clarity. And this product does that very well. So when I don't
I
have
will
to
make my I will make my own conclusion, and I
cool.
will dare to make the conclusion that if the person will use the drops, it can help the person because out of experience, I can say that the drops is very good for information, right?
Exactly.
So
very simple.
if dementia is brain inflammation, then I can have the hope. Thank you for your answer, for your
You're very
thing.
welcome.
Cool. Are there any other questions that you need to know to make a decision? Not all at once, just one question per person. Okay, I think you were
Awesome.
very clear.
It's simple.
Yeah.
There really aren't, as you build your business, there aren't a lot of questions if you present it properly, right? And if there are some questions, they're typically answered on that playlist. So
Yeah. By the way, I saw Vivi from Greenland. Are you still there, Vivi? Yeah. Can you unmute yourself? Vivi from Greenland.
Hello.
I saw you. Yes, there she is. There she is. She's one of our latest master. She just joined, I think. How long did you get started? 2 months?
2 months, yes.
2 months.
Mm.
She's
amazing job.
owning Greenland. She's
I love it.
doing it and helping people, she's making a huge impact in Greenland. Can you tell in a short way, how you are doing it? Because I know people want to know, how are you doing this?
My English is not so good, so I will try.
Go for it.
I use Facebook. I made a group and invited all the people I know and tell them about what the drops do for me and my family. And get some information you give me and put it in this group. And sometimes I tell about the drops open in Facebook, and certainly a lot of people contact me.
So
Yes.
basically what you're doing, you are sharing results. You're
Yes.
sharing the benefits.
Yes.
And that's where, and I'm specifically asking you, because I know you're sharing results. What most people do, well, no, let's not generalize, but what a lot of people do, they keep talking about these golden drops, how great they are, and that you need to take them because they're so great. Yes, we know they're great, but we want to know what's in it for me.
Yes.
Why do I need those golden drops?
Yes.
What impact will it make for my family, my
Yeah.
surroundings? And
Yeah.
you are just sharing your results. And then they ask you, how did you get the results? Well, then you can go to the next step. I like it how you do that. But on the other hand, there's another thing. You have great influence, meaning people listen to you.
Yes.
They value your opinion. When you say something, they want to listen. They want to learn from you. That's because you helped a lot of people along the way, you know? And that doesn't mean if you didn't help anyone in the past, it's not going to work. But at least what Fifi is doing, created a group, camaraderie, and sharing results. They all together, they're sharing results. And that's basically how to run this. But it's simple. Stephen is even simpler. He's like, I go to the coffee shop. I heard somebody talking about traveling all around the world. He's like, yeah, I travel for my business also around the world. Great. What business are you doing? And there you go. And he's not talking a lot. He is just showing you a picture, before and after picture, constantly. And they're like, what is this? Well, you like some more info? What's your phone number? Of how can I share this results with you? Here's the info. And you have their information. And that's how you run the business. And will everyone start? No, of course not. But as long as you keep talking and helping more people daily.
Yeah.
It's the process. That's it.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day on, one of these short videos of people interacting with strangers in public. And what the guy had, he had a little bag, and he had a bag of gold coins. And he'd take one out and he'd give them away. Like, some people are like, no, I'm not interested. They just walk away. Some people are like, yeah, I'll take it. They're like, oh my God, someone just gave me a gold coin, right? So it's like the person giving away the gold coins is going to try and give it to everybody. Like, oh, don't you want one? Right here. He doesn't feel bad if someone isn't interested, right? I'm like, I have a gold coin. You're not interested. That doesn't say anything about me. Does that make sense? It's like, it's just sad, but I'm busy. I'm like, I need to go find the next person who will take the gold coin, right? I don't overthink why this person didn't take it. Like, who knows?
No, I
Right.
like this
And so,
analogy. I like it a lot.
that's why, that's the attitude we have. I mean, if you've seen what this product will do for people, not only with their health, with their life and their business, it's incredible. Man, I need to tell people. Does that make sense? Like, if I like you, I will share it with you. If you're not interested, at least I'm blameless. All right.
I
So
should maybe at the end I should share with you. I had an interview with a lady who was transferred to a hospice. And you know what a hospice is? That's the end. That's where you go lay down and say goodbye
let's
to
give you the
everyone.
good drugs and
Okay. So, but she started using the drops right away. The minute she was in the hospice, she started using the drops. Within 4 weeks, she kept feeling better and better and better. After 4 weeks, she was strong enough to come to our presentation, live presentation in The Hague. And I interviewed her. I said, how do you feel? She's like, it's like I've never been sick. I don't know. You
love
know,
it.
I'm not gonna name what illness she had, but she was about to go, and she's back. Her family has her back. You know what impact that has for her surroundings, her son, her family, her friends. That's what we do when we share these golden drops.
Yeah.
Giving people hope back. It's a hope in a bottle. It's golden drops. Okay. So I hope you guys get it. Yeah. yeah, I hope you guys get it. And thank you, Vivi, for sharing your part.
Mm.
Thanks, Stephen.
I look forward to going to Greenland someday instead of just flying over it. Like,
Yeah,
wow,
flying
it's a lot
over
of
it.
ice.
You have to
Yep.
visit us someday.
Oh, for
I
sure.
look forward to it. Sounds like you're giving me a reason to come soon. So
Yes.
yeah,
Let's do
love
that.
it.
Thanks a lot, and I hope you guys have the information now to make a well overthought, decision. And if we can be of any help, please don't hesitate to ask. Yes, thanks a lot, and have a great
Love it.
evening.
Mm. Thank you.